So I made a video a while back about the 5 things I dislike about my Lexus ES300h, and I feel like I should do a follow-up video, the 5 things I love about my ES300h, because the reality is I love this car. I think this is the best car that I've ever owned, and I will say, I think, let's start with the number 1, and it's got to be fuel economy. The whole reason I bought this car was because I did the simple math on the fact that as a comic, I drive all over the country and put, thousands upon thousands of miles on this car, and it didn't make financial sense to keep my Grand Marquis. The difference in fuel economy between my Grand Marquis and this car, over the course of 100,000 miles, if fuel prices stayed the same, I'm going to spend $9,000 more driving the Grand Marquis. So I bought this thing, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, this is the lowest my fuel economy has ever been, and it's because I need to get an oil change, and I'm also due to get my plugs changed. 34 miles to the gallon. That's the worst it's ever been. 34. It's usually around like 38, 37, something like that. So I've come to notice that towards the tail end of the oil change cycle, it starts to get a little worse fuel economy. Which I guess should say maybe I should lower the oil change interval. The oil change interval is crazy on this car. It's like 10,000 miles, which I just can't wrap my head around. 10,000. So number 1, fuel economy. That's great. It's like 40 miles to the gallon. That's insane for a car this big. The number 2 thing, which is something I never thought would make this list, heated seats. I bought this car. One of the reasons why I bought this car, number 1, I didn't want to get a Prius. I wanted something that was sizable because I'm a big guy, and I wanted ventilated seats. I figured I would use the ventilated seats far more often. But here's the thing, in Florida, even in the summer, I have used those heated seats because they make your back feel amazing. Like, I had a back injury middle of last year, and I will say those heated seats were a lifesaver. Number 3, I would say the looks of this car. This thing, I mean, maybe you disagree. I think this thing looks amazing. I've caught myself after I park it, as I'm walking in to wherever it is, just turning back to look at the thing. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful car. I think Lexus knocked it out of the park. Good on them for that. There's a Subi behind me. Nice. Was that a Forester? It's a slammed Forester, I assume with the turbo motor. Which brings me to number 4. The 4th thing I love about this car, and that is, it might be a hybrid, but it's not slow. Like, it's got this sport mode, which is super cool. Look at this. How cool is that? So you can change it from economy or normal to I never use economy mode. I just drive it like I would anything else, and I typically get like 37, 38 miles to the gallon. But anytime I need to leave swiftly from a light, or need to pass someone, I just slip it over into sport mode, and it's got a surprising amount of torque. The thing's rated, I think, for like 200 horsepower and 200 foot-pounds of torque, something like that, or like 205 or something. Whatever it is, it feels, just from the butt dyno aspect of it, feels right on par with what my Grand Marquis was. So it's not fast, but it gets out of its own way. It's decent. The 5th thing I would say that I like about this car is it's comfortable, man. It's nice. It's a super nice interior. Like the wood finishing, you know, the bamboo that's got everywhere, and the leathers and whatnot. This thing can take a lot of abuse. I've used it, you know, for Lyft and Uber, and people are real rough on the car, and there's little to no signs of wear from, you know, having people in and out of this car, and that's impressive to me. Like, this thing, it's an absolute beast, man. I have been so beyond impressed with the engineering that Lexus has done for this automobile. So, at any rate, hope you like it. I'm also gonna do a video of a year in review from owning this car, because I think that's pertinent. But at any rate, hope you like it. If you're thinking about getting an ES300h, I say do it, man. There's very little that I dislike about this car. I think my biggest complaint, and it's a very tiny one, is I think the sound system needs a subwoofer. I know it has one, but I think it's insufficient. So, and that's such a minor complaint. I think most cars, the sound system is inadequate. But a buddy of mine has a Chrysler 300, and that thing has a great sound system from the factory. So, that aside, I mean, I think you should get one, man, if you're thinking about it. At any rate, hope you guys dig that. If you do, click the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll catch you guys next video.
Love it.